Hey guys, welcome back to the Stockzilla YouTube channel. Welcome from sunny Australia. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all the watchers out there and the people that subscribed. Hopefully you guys took a deeper dive into BusXF. That stock has gone up about 85% since that time of recording. It had a little bit of a consolidation today, people taking profits. I'll be keeping an eye on this stock as it consolidates. If it hovers around this price or it drops any further, I'll be definitely adding to my stack. The same goes for Iguana Technologies. Price has gone up about 115% since the time of recording. It had a consolidation today as well. I'd be looking at watching the stock price as it hits this support level to see what it does. If it hovers around this price or drops any further, I will again be adding to my stack. Both these companies are amazing. So it's the Wild West out there, as you guys might have noticed. Traders are pumping any stock related to green energy, EV, solar, hydrogen, and I think it's important to do your research on these companies before buying in. You'd be looking at companies with solid fundamentals, companies that have got revenue prior to now and will have revenue heading forward. Before buying in, so you don't get dumped on and lose all of your money. Company we're looking at today is Solar Integrated Roofing. I've been watching this one closely, hoping for a dip in the price, and I got that today, luckily. Stock dropped today a ridiculous amount. It got dumped about 50%, so it lost half of its price and market cap. That dip got bought up really quickly by traders to close about 20% down for the day. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why this stock dropped so hard was simply because they forecast revenue to be 5.3 million for the quarter, and what they reported today was revenue of 4.3 million. So Wall Street are ruthless and unforgiving, and if a company doesn't report earnings as expected, they dump the price. Company has really strong fundamentals. It's set for exponential growth heading into 2021 and beyond. That's why I took advantage of this dip today. So keep your eyes on it. What does SIRC do? Well, they are a solar installation company. So they install solar panels, solar energy storage systems, so the batteries. They install electric vehicle charging stations in people's homes. And there's more news on their other related businesses and acquisitions. Rightio, back to the company. Market cap's still pretty minimal. Looking at a $30 million market cap, which is still pretty low for a company that's set to grow exponentially over the coming years. It's already provided investors with ridiculous returns, 720% year to date. You'd be happy with that, obviously. So their SEC filings that came out today, we can see here that their report was 4.3 mil, so it didn't meet expectations. But if you compare that to 2019, at the same time of 1.4 mil, this year is ridiculous and has grown a couple of 100%. 9 months ending November 30, 2019 was 2.6 mil in revenue. And it's up a lot in 2020 so far to 12.9 million. So you can see the company year on year is growing and growing and growing their revenues. For a growth company, this is pretty important. So why on earth are they growing so much? Well, the CEO is aggressive. Their growth strategy is to acquire companies. So far this year, they've acquired 5 different companies, and there's more in the pipeline. Each of these companies is bringing in more and more revenue for SIRC this year and heading into 2021. You guys can dive real deep into this. For those of you that aren't aware of SIRC, for those of you that are, you would already know all this information. StockTwits is about 2,000 watches, so it's not under the radar, but I think today's dip in price has provided people with a great buying opportunity. Righty-o. So, what's some news? Some news for the company. What is going on? So just recently, they've signed an agreement with a beast of a company called Soltrack Incorporated. SIRC will be supplying their equipment and also installing these for Soltrack. So, like we said, Soltrack's a beast. SIRC will provide solar panels, electric storage, and other devices, along with the installation services to Soltrack's existing customers and future customers that relate to this grant. So we know with Biden, the green energy policy providing lots of stimulus, equating to billions of dollars. So these grants and stimulus packages will be making solar packages, batteries, electric vehicle installations of their recharging stations a lot cheaper for the whole of the USA, whether it's commercial or residential. So we know that the sector is set for growth heading into 2021, and SIRC have set themselves up quite nicely. So more news. This one's really important. This came out on December 2. Company set up the launch of their dedicated EV charging solutions division. So a whole division in the company related to EV charging. And you guys would know, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, that companies in the EV sector and EV charging sector have seen growth, not only in their revenues, but in their stock prices, because people are seeing the potential in these companies and in this sector. So it's just another part of the business that they're trying to expand. The company will focus on sales, marketing, and installation of service of the personal EV chargers at people's homes. So EV charging in people's homes to charge their EV cars, as well as public EV charging infrastructure. So what that means is they'll be partnering with some of the big EV charging companies to help set up their infrastructure, so to help install infrastructure commercially, so, you know, at businesses, public spaces around the place. So cross-selling for those existing customers. They also are looking at acquisitions in the EV charging space, so that they're looking at acquiring or doing a joint venture with an EV charging company, and we'll touch on that news shortly. (24th of the 11th), SIRC establishes strategic partnerships to expand deeper into California's $1.1 billion new home market. You guys can read up on all this sort of stuff, but that's positive news. The company is aggressive and their strategy is for growth. Okay, back to the company over here. I guess today everyone was so focused on the stock price dropping, they were focused on the revenue update, which caused the stock price to drop. They sort of missed this tweet, and the director is really has a strong presence on Twitter, so you can follow for all of their updates. But this morning there was a tweet relating to their EV sector, EV charging sector, and what they state is, we are speaking to a EV charging company now in doing a joint venture with them, so stay tuned. That's really positive news. What else have we got? Okay. So we'd all be aware that the company is trying to uplist. As stated before, there's different tiers for companies to be able to trade over the OTC markets, over the counter. It starts at grey sheet, which are dog stocks you'd never buy because you'll lose your money. Pink sheet stocks are similar to what you'd see off the Wolf of Wall Street. A lot of these companies are shell companies. You wouldn't buy a lot of these companies, but if you do your research, you will find decent companies trading on the pink OTC market, which is like SIRC. Companies progress up the tiers, and that's exactly what SIRC are trying to do. And that all relates to Transparency of the business, like stated in the last video. So companies have to disclose all relevant information regarding financials. Their financials have to be audited by a professional independent auditor or accountant. And SIRC are striving to upgrade or uplist onto the top tier of the OTC markets. This will also help them upgrade onto the NASDAQ, which they're looking at doing in 2022. So it's positive for companies to uplist in these markets to gain more attention, to gain more trust and transparency from traders. So today's dip was a real positive for me. All the fundamentals for the stock, for the company, heading into 2021 and beyond was a buy. Keep your eyes on this stock, guys. If you have any questions related to SIRC, hit us up. If you want to discuss any other stocks that you'd be looking at in the green energy sector, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Peace.